It has been 2 months since we started building out our van, and so in today's video, as we install our 3M Thinsulate from Campervan HQ, we're going to be going over the 5 things that we've learned building our van so far. Starting with number 1, everything takes so much time. Hence why it's 2 months into our van build and our van looks like this.
Initially, we thought that the majority of our time would be spent actually building our van. But in reality, the majority of our time is spent researching, which is why we are so happy to be partnering with Campervan HQ on this video and installing our 3M Thinsulate into our van as our van's insulation. Thinsulate is very popular in van builds for a few reasons. One, it's hydrophobic, so it is resistant to mold and mildew. Second, it's lightweight, so it doesn't add a lot of weight to your camper van build. 3, it has some sound deadening qualities that help reduce the noise. And 4th, it's really good at what it does as insulation with a high R value. Because Thinsulate is so widely used, we were confident in using it as our van's insulation. And since our Thinsulate from Campervan HQ is pre-cut for our campervan size, being a Mercedes Sprinter 170 wheelbase, it makes the installation process a little bit easier, or hopefully, as we are about to find out. So now let's lay out this Thinsulate and start the installation process. The Thinsulate is all labeled, so C1, C2, which I presume is ceiling 1, ceiling 2. So we're just kind of aligning all of these panels to where we think they go.
Jennifer is so organized, I love it.
Driver upper.
Some tasks better for me to do, some tasks better for Jen to do. Jen's doing a great job. Now, this project and our project 2 videos ago both lead into the second thing that we've really learned so far in the van build, which hopefully we will keep doing for the rest of the van build, which is the value of keeping it simple. So with our floor that we did 2 videos ago, we chose the most simple floor pretty much possible, with basically a layer of insulation, layer of subfloor, and then finishing layer. And time will tell if that pays off, but at least the installation part of it was simple. Besides the last step of actually laying the epoxy, that was a little bit challenging, but luckily we had done that before on the boat. And so for installation, it is the same thing. No matter what you're doing in the van build, there are a bazillion ways to do it. And there are a lot of channels on YouTube of like really high-level professional installations, and we're going for professional, we're going for high quality, but to me there's a kind of a mark of diminishing gains. So there's like a point at which the further effort that you're doing something don't provide as much value as everything that you did leading up to that. And so with insulation, that is also equally valid. So there's so many different ways to insulate a van, and Thinsulate is just basically checks all of the boxes. Is it the perfect insulation? How do you define perfect? Is it the best insulator, the highest R value? No. Is it the easiest to install? It's pretty easy to install. Hopefully that'll continue to be the case. But in general, for every single other part of our build, we are trying to balance that simplicity with the level of professionalism and the level of kind of luxury kind of wants that we have with this van builds. Because this is not just a weekend getaway, this is our full-time home that we're building. So we do have that level of standard that is pretty high for us for the finished product, and all that's coming together. So keeping it simple is something that we need to do more of, no more over-engineering and complicating things.
Alright, so I have organized all of the Thinsulate. They're organized by D and P, which is driver and passenger. The L stands for lower, and then 10 is the number, so they're all numbered, so we know which panel they go into. So 1 starts at the front of the van, 10, or the highest number, goes all the way to the end of the van. We have organized the Thinsulate into the lower ones on the bottom, the middle ones on the second layer, and then the upper, the U, on the top layer. So that way we can go from top to bottom whenever we are installing it. And if you see this pile of Thinsulate behind me, that is all the Thinsulate installation for our ceiling. Those are labeled as C. And then the final pieces of insulation that we have are for the rear doors, and those are labeled as DRDM dash whatever number. So that is driver rear door, middle or bottom or top or upper. And then we have PRD, which is passenger rear door. We are fully organized now. We feel that an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. So now we feel confident to start the next process.
Now that we have all the Thinsulate laid out, we are going to be attaching it with some 3M90. Jennifer is actually going to be leading this project, which is kind of exciting.
Yeah, so we've used this product on the boat. It's a very similar application. So basically you spray the surface that you are intending it to stick onto, and you also spray the surface that you want the product to stick to, the product, yeah, the Thinsulate. And so then you wait for it to become tacky. It takes about 2 to 5 minutes, and then you stick it on. And once you stick it on, it is pretty sticky, so you need to be very sure of your work and workmanship.
Contact cement.
Yeah, contact cement. So that should say everything. So we're gonna give it a go. Got my PPE on, and time to give it a go.
Now we wait.
Now we wait.
All right, for the third major point that we are sharing from building our van is that the right tool makes a world of difference. And so the tool specifically that I'm talking about is this bad boy right here. This is an electric caulk gun. So a lot of the materials that we've been using, especially for the windows, have been really hard to move through like a normal caulk gun. And so after we failed one of the windows, that was like the first thing that I bought. And I didn't buy it beforehand because it was expensive. And so if we could have got around it, we would have. And I'm sure there's probably, other ones. You don't have to go electric, but that just changed the game, made it so easy. And now any other sealant that we apply, whatever future projects that we do on this channel, we'll have the tool. With the budget, we can't just buy everything that we want. So that's the third thing that we kind of have learned. I wish I would have bought that electric caulk gun sooner, because then we wouldn't have had a leaky window, I think. But we learned the lesson. All of these gear and like the gear per job is on our website, by the way. So we have showandjoe.com/vanbuild. We're sharing all the nitty-gritty details for helping somebody to actually do these jobs. So we get into everything you need to know, all the tools required that we suggest, alternatives, and yeah, it's point number 3. How's it going in there, baby?
It is going well. Our first section, so if I kind of divide up the van in thirds, first, second, third. The first section is done. We have started with the second section, and it's going pretty well. It is so easy to do. I'm like loving this task by its just ease. Simplicity and ease.
Appreciate you.
Go team. So we are back. Day 2, we ran out of the 3M adhesive spray, so we had to make a trip to the hardware store, get more spray. Trying to reduce the amount of spray cans we use just because, one, they're not cheap. Multitude of reasons, but that's the biggest reason. So anyway, have more spray cans. So far, this is spray can number 3. This project has been going super easy so far. We're gonna continue putting in more of the 3M Thinsulate, and yeah, and wrap this up. And lastly, what I've found to work the best for us anyway is that if we spray the actual van inside, because there's no getting around that, but then we take the Thinsulate outside just to reduce the amount of fumes that are inside the van, and that way too it reduces the possibility for mistakes of spraying this in places we don't want this sprayed, because this is very tacky. And so we spray it on a piece of cardboard outside the van, which just ensures that it doesn't get sprayed on our nice floors or anywhere else that we don't want it. Okay, I've also learned that because we have a Mercedes Sprinter van, the design of the shell of the van kind of tapers at the top just a little bit. It is not like the Ram ProMaster that is more box-like and is known for having more straight walls. So because we are in a Sprinter, the top edges, like particularly in the back, they taper so much that the Thinsulate is very tough to like squeeze up in there. It's not a problem if I had not put on so much of the spray, of the adhesive spray. That's because it's contact cement, that it's becoming very challenging. So if you're watching this and looking for tips, just put a little bit on, and then in the areas that are really tight, and don't put as much on as I did. Just put like a little bit on in the middle, like a dab in the middle if it's tight, and that's it. I think that's all you need. My motto lately in life is just, or maybe it's just with this fan build, but it also feels like it's spilling into other life parts too, is that it's fine. It's fine, it's fine, it's fine. And I think it's just like, what I've realized is that we just take a lot of risks, and we were talking to some friends last night about taking risks, and this whole life that we have chosen, this path, just feels like one big risk. Sometimes like this one moment when we had water inside our boat felt the most risky thing because, well, I'm afraid of drowning, so you know, there's that. So now I'm like, well, we're not drowning, so like it's fine. Like everything's fine. Everything's fine. I mean, it is fine. It looks actually, to be quite honest, it looks great. Like I'm so impressed, and it looks, yeah, looks like we're gonna stay warm and cool and comfortable, which is the goal. Doing it this way with like it all pre-cut, that has been game changer. So easy. It's like plug and play. It's like Legos. Done. I don't know that this van build has made us cry yet, but there's definitely been a lot of sweat, and now there's officially blood. So there is blood, sweat, and to be determined if there will be tears. Follow along. The fourth thing that we have learned with this van build is that the mistakes sometimes take as long, if not more time, than the actual project. For example, when we were installing our windows, one of our windows was leaking like a sieve. The time it took to research a solution to fix the window, the time that it took to apply those solutions to try and fix it, and to fully resolve the problem from start to finish took way longer than just installing the windows. Another example is our roof rack. When we were installing our walkable solar panels on our roof rack, we were installing riv nuts to attach the solar panels to the roof rack. And we messed up 3 of those riv nuts. Messing those up easily took an entire 24 hours because there were 3 mess ups to resolve the issue. It was a time-consuming and pretty frustrating like 24 hours. Those mistakes costed us a lot of time in terms of delays between our other projects. So it's just that mistakes happen. We are new to this. A lot of people who do van builds aren't professional van builders. Of course, there are professional van builders out there, but the people who are doing this completely new are bound to make mistakes. We're human. It's going to happen. But those just take a long time. And that was the lesson that we learned, is that if we make a mistake, we just have to be okay with that. It's just going to take a while for us to figure this out and resolve the issue. It's life, though. It is what it is. Oh my gosh. I feel like, well, 1, I'm sweating like a pig. But 2, I find this hilarious. Sometimes you just gotta laugh. I just found the instructions. I'm on the almost last piece. I mean, I haven't done the rear doors, so granted I'm not on the last piece really, but I have one more ceiling piece to do, and then I'm done with all the walls and the ceiling. But I just found the instructions, or the like key diagram. And yeah, I mean, we did figure it out. It is all of the things that we did went in the correct ways based off of their very easy and kind of intuitive labeling system, but I just find it funny. Like, here it is, here's the instructions, like last panel, last ceiling panel, and here we go. But yeah, so you can see though that they just have like PU1 for P upper 1, PM1, P middle 1, PL1, PL2. So passenger lower 1, passenger lower 2. And it just kind of goes along the side. But yeah, that's great. We just found it. So cool, cool, cool. Awesome. All right, now for our ceiling panels. The very first one I'm not doing yet because there are some like manufacturer styrofoam block forms, I guess, that are right by the upper cab. And we don't really know what we're gonna do with that. We wanna take them down because we're not a huge fan of how they look, but we're not sure yet. So we're gonna wait for that because the insulation is cut to go underneath them. There's no room to go underneath them as is, so we would have to take them down, but we're doing a little research behind the scenes. Secondly, for the fan, I was able to basically cut an X, and then once I made that initial X, make a circle. I'm on the last of the ceiling panels that we're gonna be doing right now, and it's for the AC. And the AC, we have the wires over here that you can see, and then obviously the AC unit. So I need to cut a square, and then what I think I'm gonna do is just cut a line down here. This will basically match flush around the little pipe that we have coming down with the wires. Should be good though. We say this in every video, but it really transforms the van. Like, I know we're not going to see this, or at least we shouldn't see it in the van, but this really makes it feel like it's coming together. Hey, what do you think?
Whoa!
Ollie, what do you think?
Wow! Is this our van?
I know, right?
Oh my god, you just transformed everything. This is gonna be our home.
I know, like, it's so cool.
Wow!
Nice.
I'm impressed.
Thanks.
Good job.
Thanks. All right, the door is done. The door was a bit challenging. The kit came with a piece to like shove in this corner. So obviously there's no glue on that one because there's no way to spray that area. But the entire door has insulation now, obviously minus the window. And the great thing about like putting in the windows too, although it is not good in any shape or form for insulation and keeping the hot air in or out, but we have the extra pieces from the kit that go on the windows and the flare and this rear window that we'll be able to cut up and put in these spaces here, along there and up here. But yeah, and so right now I'm finishing up by putting back the finishing pieces on the door, just on the lower one. Both doors have insulation now, which is awesome. So I'm just finishing up this last piece. All right, it's done. It looks so good. I'm so happy with how this project turned out. We are kind of leaving it somewhat undone just for just temporarily. For example, behind me, I think we're gonna cut these little bits off and then put them in the voids here and use a little bit of glue. But the reason we're kind of holding off on that now is that we want to figure out our wiring before we go any further. We already have a general wiring plan and diagram, but there are a few details that we still have to figure out. So we want to do that just beforehand. Just like we said earlier, it's really hard once you make a mistake or you do something and then to have to undo something. It takes a lot more time. So we're leaving it semi-undone. Similar also for this back part or the front part. This part is undone. We have this part over here also undone because we're not sure what we're doing with this or with this styrofoam just yet. And that leads us to our last point about van building and what we've learned so far. Van building is tough, And it is significantly easier whenever there's two of us doing something or just two of us researching something. And I have total respect for people who do this alone. That is hard. But doing it as two people just makes it so much easier, and we are just so happy that we get to be doing this together and working together as a team to create this next adventure, this next pivot, and our next home together. We're really excited how it's turning out, and yeah, we're just so excited. Like, it looks so good. I'm so impressed. Anyway, so while I have been doing a bunch of this insulation, Elliot has been inside doing a lot of research on the electrical, because that's where his expertise comes in and not mine. So we've been dividing and conquering on this particular project, but I can guarantee you we have still been working as a team with this whole van build. Now, to wrap this up, we just have a huge thank you to Camper Van HQ for partnering with us on this part of our van build. We got our 3M Thinsulate from Camper Van HQ, and they have both the pre-cut, which is what we did, and we really liked it, and also non-pre-cut Thinsulate available on their website. We'll leave all the links for the materials that we used and the products we used in the description below, as well as the specific blog post of tips and tricks for installing this Thinsulate in our van on our website. And if you're interested in the cost breakdown, that's also available on our website, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks so much for watching.